1-3. We're not showing with audio. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, hello. Your host, Cy Smith, welcomes you to the February and 6 months later, August National Summit. We call it the F through K National Summit. The purpose of this 2-hour session is to give an account for what we've done in the last 30 days and what we've done in the last 6 months since February. The benefit to you and to our community as a whole is that we get a chance to come strategically together based on our interests. I'm going to be talking about a myriad of topics. This time is going to go by so fast, you're not even going to recognize that we've been together for 2 hours. We go from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So I want to get us started with the agenda so you guys will know what we're going to be discussing. For those people who have the code to dial in, to come on in, we welcome you. You can come on or you can wait till your time and then come on. Either way it go, you're more than welcome to join me. I consider this an open session. You add your input as well. And then we're going to make sure our community is aware, informed, and have a platform to speak and give their perspective on where we are as a people. For those who don't know, the National Block Club University is a non-for-profit based out of Illinois. Chicago is our headquarters. We have 20 US cities linked to Chicago's 20 zip codes. That's why we call it the National Summit, because we're discussing what we do as a people here and across 20 other US cities. So in this little 2-hour span, we're going to cover everything from safety to young people, to economics, to construction, to education. We're going to be talking about hunger, health, policy. We're going to be talking about accountability, and we're going to talk about the Gary, Indiana National Conventions. So as you can see, we have a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. So let's get at it. We're going to have breaks in between all of these time frames. And each subject matter is going to go pretty quickly because we do have a lot to cover. So I first started out by telling you that we have 20 zip codes that we're linked to. So these 20 zip codes, we're going to do roll call first, meaning I'm going to talk through these 20 zip codes, especially for those people who are watching for the first time. You will hear your zip code and you'll know who our leader is in your zip code. And I'm gonna tell you what your zip code does. Then we're gonna go into the good news, if you will, what's happened that we're excited about. We're gonna talk about rule. And rule is our Mississippi link. For those who know what we do, Mississippi is a big part of what we do. So we're going to talk about Mississippi. Then we're going to take our bigger break, and we're going to go and then come back from break and talk about the safety, talk about the youth, we'll talk about missing persons. Then we're going to break, and we're going to talk about economic development. We're going to talk about construction. We'll take a break. We're going to talk about education. And education is a broad term. Then we're going to take a break, come back, talk about policy, legal, and accountability. Take a break, summarize it when we come back from break, talk about the Gary Conventions, close out with next month's schedule and tour. So that's what it looks like. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. All right, so the way this is designed to work, I'm going to talk about each of our zip codes. In a perfect world, our leaders whose last names begin with the alphabets F through K would be on here right now. And there are so many things happening in our community that I quit being worried about when people couldn't get on. I stopped being worried about that a long time ago, because we're dealing with so much volatility and instability in our communities that it's a blessing that we're able to keep pressing on in this environment that we're in. So right now, we're going to go through the west side of Chicago, 20 zip codes, and the US cities and African countries linked to each one of those. For those who heard this before, you could just tune out for the next few minutes while I go through this, but it's important that our new viewers know who we are and what we're doing. So on the west side of Chicago, you have zip code 60612. That zip code is linked to Boston, Massachusetts, and it's linked to Ghana in Africa. And this zip code is responsible for our list of all our scientists and researchers. Byron Dickens is our governor for that zip code. Last name Dickens, so it's not his month. This is F through K, are the leaders that ideally would be on with me today. Then we have in zip code 60623, that's the North Lawndale neighborhood. That zip code is linked to Los Angeles, California, and it's linked to Senegal in Africa, and they maintain a list of all our people in entertainment. That's what this zip code does. We have in zip code 60624, that's the Garfield Park neighborhood. This zip code is linked to Atlanta, Georgia. It's linked to Sierra Leone in Africa, and they maintain a list of all our police, firefighters, and military. So that's a zip code 24. Then we have zip code 60639. We call that North Austin on the west side of Chicago. That zip code is linked to Memphis, Tennessee. It's linked to Nigeria and Africa, and they maintain a list of all our people who are our judges, poets, and people in that communicative side of the world. Then we have zip code 60644. They also deal with communication. They're linked to St. Louis, Missouri. They're linked to Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast in Africa, and they maintain a list of all our lawyers. So they both 39 and 44 next to each other, North Austin, South Austin. They both have a piece of communication. We have zip code 60651, the last zip code on the west side of Chicago. I'm sorry, 60623 is led by Governor Eric Strickland, superstar leader, last name S, so he's not expected to be on today. 60624 zip code is led by Sandra Brinson, last name B, not expected to be on, not F through K. Then we have zip code 60639. This zip code is led by our superstar, Tiffany Taylor, T, not this month. 60644 is led by our superstar, James Shannon, last name S, not expected to be on. Then 60651 is led by Sister Kernita Jones, last name F through K Jones. She should and hopefully will be calling in, Kernita Jones. 60651 is linked to Birmingham, Alabama. Our sister Leandria Hoyle is in Birmingham. She is not able to be on. It's linked to all things dealing with restaurants, chefs, catering, food. That's what zip code, and they manage Western Sahara in Africa. Okay, then we're moving on to the south side, west of the Dan Ryan Expressway. That zip code 60609 is linked to Ethiopia in Africa and is linked to Detroit, Michigan, and they deal with all things dealing with construction. That's a big piece of what I'm going to be talking about during the construction segment today, and some good movement we have there. Then we had zip code 60620, led by, 09 is led by Gail McDaniels. 60620 is led by Governor Francis Newman, and that zip code is linked to Norfolk, Virginia. During the safety period, I'm going to talk about some bad news there with Norfolk, Virginia, one of our leaders, and what we're going to do about that is linked to Egypt and Africa, and they maintain the list of all our veterinarians. 60621 zip code is led by Chastity Freeman, last name F2K, ideally would be on today. That zip code is linked to New York City, Sudan, and Africa, and they maintain the list of all of our engineers, aeronautical personnel, and technology people. 60629 zip code, which is where we're on tour at. All zip codes coming to this zip code this month, is led by Deborah Pryor. She's the governor for this zip code. This zip code is linked to Washington, D.C., Djibouti, and Africa, and they maintain a list of all our business people. Then we move on to 60636 zip code. That is Governor Denise King. Ideally will be on with us right now. Denise King, zip code 60636, linked to San Diego. Mr. Bowser out there in San Diego is doing a wonderful job. San Diego is also linked to Somalia in Africa, and they maintain a list of all our gardeners. Then we move on to zip code 60652, led by Brittany Corner. This governor is someone we had since she was 15 years old. Now she's doing big things in society, and she's leading the zip code for us. This zip code is linked to St. Paul, Minnesota. It's linked to Kenya in Africa, and they maintain a list of all our politicians and registering people to vote. And then we move over to east of the Dan Ryan Expressway, east side of Chicago. This zip code, first one is 60615, led by Governor Joe Merles. Last name Merles, not within our F through K, so we don't expect them on. This zip code is led by New Orleans. Our sister Don Israel is going through the situation there with the hurricane that's about to attack Louisiana. So our prayers is with our leader down there in New Orleans, along with Sam Harrell, superstar in New Orleans. They're linked to Congo in Africa, and they also manage all things dealing with travel agents and travel personnel. 60617 is led by Chrissy Williams, of course, last name not F through K. She manages that zip code that's linked to Kansas City, Missouri, is linked to Tanzania in Africa, and is linked to all things dealing with teachers. Then we move on to 60619, led by Erica Dunn, last name D, not F through K this month. And that zip code is linked to Angola in Africa. It's linked to Philadelphia, and it's all things dealing with missing persons and unsolved cases. That's our detective division, if you will. Then we move on to 60628 zip code, led by Governor Charles Robinson, not his month, Robinson, not F through K last name. So we don't expect him to be on. His zip code is linked to South Africa, is linked to Dallas, Texas, our brother Willie out there, Billy Carter, and then is linked to all things dealing with nurses, truck drivers, and pastors. All right, then we move on to 60637, Governor Claudette Reddick, last name R, Reddick, not F through K for this month. She manages, her zip code manages Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Zimbabwe in Africa with our superstar Salul in Africa, in Zimbabwe. They manage all things dealing with artists, photographers, DJs, people with that artistic talent. Then we move on to 60643, led by Governor Barnes. This sister is linked, her zip code is linked to Cleveland, Ohio. Latoya Witcher is out there in Cleveland, Ohio, is linked to Botswana in Africa, and they manage all things dealing with doctors and dentists. Then we move on to today's on duty zip code, 60649, led by Governor Rachel Lindsay. So next month is L through O. So Rachel is up next month. This zip code is linked to Zambia in Africa. Is linked to Miami, Florida. We got several superstars: Chile, Israel down there, Tawana Atkins, some great people in the MIA, and they manage all things dealing with sales, marketing, vendors, people of that nature. And the final one is zip code 60653. This zip code is linked to Gary, Indiana, and Nibia in Africa. And got a gang of Gary superstars. Kendra Johnson will be on today, calling from Indianapolis, i.e. Gary as well. And we have several other superstars in Gary. Is also linked to all things dealing with authors, administrators, and clerical personnel. So I want to take a pause there. I know that was a lot. So everyone else, I welcome you back, because most people hear that every month. We got to go through that formality for all our people who are new. That way they'll know what it is that we're doing. And then we can bring us up to speed with it. So having said that, I want to show you guys what is happening. So this here is, if you look at this here, it'll show you, this is a brochure, and it has a picture. It says, "Welcome to Chicago's Marquette Park neighborhood." On the back end, it lists the Black-owned businesses. Inside, it tells you where the business assets are in the zip code. It talks about downtown assets such as Greyhound, the Black Hotel, Millennium Park. It talks about market parks where you can shop, dine, and entertain at. Then it lists where the arts and culture is, where foods and drinks are, where music and nightlife is, who are the unsung heroes, and some of the Black businesses. All that is inside this brochure. This month, this whole month, this is where we've been concentrating on from all over the country. All over the country, this has been our focus. And the reason why is because of what we call the national tour. The national tour. And the national tour is designed to create vibrancy in Black neighborhoods. Let me say that again. The reason we want to do this is to create vibrancy. We want to get away from our neighborhoods being desolate and everyone leaving our neighborhoods for enjoyment. And we want to make sure that they are vibrant, that people are coming to our neighborhoods to enjoy some of the most entertaining people in society. Right. So let me do, so I can you guys see this on the screen. I want to make sure you guys can see this. Here we go right here. So this is what this looks like. For those who might be looking at this for the first time here, give it a second and it's gonna pop up the flyer that we've been circulating every day since August 1st. There it is. So it says African American National Summit, last name is F through K, has a picture of us during the summit of 2016. And then it lists over here, let me zoom in so you guys can really see it. It lists over here. Okay, here we go right here. So it lists over here our 8 teams. Teams 1 and 5 is our business team, is team 1. 5 is our construction team. We're going to talk about that. Roseland community linked to Dallas, New Orleans, New City linked to Detroit. This is exactly what I was just reading to you. Now you get a chance to see it on this flyer, but this is the flyer that goes out, talks about our team for education committee and what they're on. When you're looking at this, just know that the bottom line, this here is allowing the Black community to have ourselves ultra organized down to last names. Like, that's how detailed it is. And the benefit of this, we know who we are expecting and when. This is F through K only. It's only people we're expecting. Anyone else, this is just icing on the cake with you to be watching, viewing, and people can watch it at their leisure if you're not F through K last name. All right, so that's just, I want you guys to see that. This here real quick, then we're going to get into Mississippi next. But this here is the Chicago tour. Let me back out so you guys can see what this really is. So this is the tour schedule. It lists every day this month from the 1st all the way to the 31st, and it tells you what blocks we're on. So now that I showed you that, let me zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This tells us what zip code and who is supposed to be where. So we're going to go down to today, which is 28 right here at the bottom in blue. 60649 zip code is on duty today. August 28th is the day. 66 in Tallman is where the people of that zip code should have been putting the flyers out about what we're doing right now. So that flyer right here, every day, this flyer was supposed to be distributed by whoever was on duty, the on duty leader. So that's in a nutshell what I wanted to show you guys. Now we're going to go into talking about the good news, and we're going to also talk about let me start recording. I'm a little behind here. We're going to talk about Mississippi. We're going to talk about Mississippi and the good news with MS Mississippi. So let me do this first. Before we do this, I'm going to go so you guys can see this screen as well. This is Mississippi, a very, very important place for us as Black people, Mississippi. So I want to talk about the good news before we go into Mississippi. For those who have been following my posts on Facebook and social media, I've been talking to you guys about this meeting with this very influential retired global leader. The meeting went extremely well. We came to this meeting with a mindset of being able to have funding for at least 1 quarter that will allow us to hire 60 people and have our award money there to motivate, inspire people toward creating sustainability. So this meeting was about, can we get to $100,000 so that we can hire 60 people? That's 20 people, 60 people, 20 people for administration, 20 people for telephone, and 20 people for outreach. That's 60 people for Chicago alone. And their main mission is to get 35 Black businesses to finance $12 a month for the year, which is $144. So we want to hire an administrator, a telephone, and outreach person, 3 people for all 20 neighborhoods. That's 60 people. These 60 people are going to work to convince 35 Black businesses to self-finance this movement. As we do that, what we're going to find is we're going to see more of those business owners who have family and friends who will also be the regular $12 donors. So it's going to have different aspects of funding coming to what we do. I'm going to talk about more of the funding later on when we get to that section, the economics, but I just wanted to tell you guys the good news is this meeting went well. She understood the plan. She approved helping us. This lady knows and has a role to put us ever been before. She knows people in very high places who also are global and manage billion-dollar portfolios and companies. So hats off to all of you guys who've been with us, helping us to be able to be where we are now, to have that conversation with a global leader and now walk away with an agreement that's going to put us in front of a lot of these people who can just take what we do and put us at a whole nother arena. So I want to, not on this national summit, but I'm going to be doing some Zooms and some Facebook Lives after this so that you guys can see what we need to do. Now that we know this is going to come to pass, what should we be doing to get ready? What can we be doing to better prepare for this major connection that's about to take place? There's some things that we need to do. So thanks. That's the best news. Me and my wife were celebrating a little bit yesterday, so I'll give that report. And so now we're going to go into Mississippi. We're at the 3:22 mark now. So I'm a little bit behind, but I'm gonna speed up just a little bit and let's talk about what you see right in front of you. This is Mississippi. Mississippi. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can really see that. Okay, so what you're looking at is Mississippi F through K Summit Report. As I scroll down, you guys can see these dates here. Okay, and July 24th was the last national summit. That was for last names A through E. Balonzi was the Mississippi town that we spoke about back then. This month, As you can see, August 28th, I got several Mississippi towns that to speak about. But here's what I would say: the good news. But we don't have to do good news to Mississippi. This is the update with Mississippi. We need Falcon, Mississippi. And if you know anyone in Falcon, Mississippi, we need your help because Falcon, Mississippi is going to be the headquarters for asking for $12 donations all over the United States of America. This is going to justify us opening up 7 trailer offices in Falcon, Mississippi to be able to handle all 21 cities that we're in. It's 20 cities plus Chicago. So Falcon, Mississippi, we wasted a summer not having someone from Falcon helping us so that we can create these jobs that's going to cause people to move into Falcon because the workload is that big. Collecting money, collecting the $12 from National Block Club University is a job creator out of this world. We want Falcon to be the headquarters for that. Mount Bayou, Mississippi, the first Black town. Can't say enough about Mount Bayou and the resiliency of this Black town. Amazing. So we want Mount Bayou is our last name solution town. So we're gonna have 7 offices in Mount Bayou to help us with every new person we meet, making sure we get them there twice a year. That's every 6-month responsibility to Black people. So this month, February and August is F through K. So if we meet a family member whose last name is Jones, Mount Bayou will be letting that new Jones person know that in February and August is the only time we'll bug you. So Mount Bayou essentially is part of our orientation team that's going to orientate every single Black person on when their twice a year role, their time is to help Black society out. So I'm excited about Mount Bayou. 7 offices going to cause people to move to Mount Bayou because of the jobs that's going to be created. It's 40 plus million Black people in this country. So imagine the jobs that's going to come when we have them charged with communicating to 40 plus million people. Then we have Coahoma, Mississippi. Coahoma is our national headquarters for asking all 40 million Black people who are there for charities. That's going to take time to do that. Why do we ask that question? Because as a people, unfortunately, we are giving every birthday, we're saying support these charities. And a lot of the charities that we're asking to be supported are charities that don't necessarily serve Black communities. They may serve 1 or 2, but the main thing, if you look at where majority of their expenditures go, it's not to our community. And our focus is always to take care of us first. So we want to make sure whoever we're giving money to, that we're getting the biggest bang for our dollar there. So what Coahoma is responsible for is finding out who are the charities that we support and see how we can synchronize, make sure that it makes sense, and then we can support them even greater. So if I got 5 people that support Red Cross, we might be able to negotiate and then give Red Cross a bigger support donation, but we also expect them to know who we are so we can have some reciprocation coming back to our communities, a little bit more, making sure that they take care of us, making our voices heard, as they say. Then we have Metcalf, Mississippi. Metcalf, Mississippi, we have our superstar Hydras Clark out of Georgia, who's making calls to you guys. You're getting the calls from her saying, can you name your 4 Black businesses? But that's what this is. This is what Metcalf, Mississippi, our sister Etta Washington down there runs the sports bar and grill. We want 7 offices down there. That's going to be a boom for her business when you got people moving to Metcalf, Mississippi, just to make sure that they're calling 40 million Black people every month and saying, name your 4 Black businesses. So that's good news, you guys, to me, for Mississippi, to have this set up, to have our community employed, creating jobs, having a reason to bring offices down to Mississippi is a boom for us. So this is it. We have 108 towns in Mississippi. So as I close this out, and we're going to go to break, take a 2-minute break, I want to read to you just some of these towns. And I might butcher the names, but charge it to my head, not my heart. We have Brookville, Centobia, Macon, Squalic, Coahoma, Drew, Dodgeville, Indianola, Moorhead, Columbus, Euphoria, Starksville, West Point, Glendale, Hattiesburg, Peck, Patil, Ross Springs, Coverdale, Loosedale, Natchez, Canton, Bentovia, Eden, Sartia, Zoo City, Walnut, Patton, Port Gibson, Rocky Springs, DeKalb, Boo, Scuba, Kisco, Arcola, Greenville, Hollandale, Leland, Centralville, Crosby, Fort Adam, Woodville, Beechwood, Grenada, Meridian, Vicksburg, Charleston, Glendoria, Summer, Tutwiler, North Tunica, South Haven, Tunica Resorts, Tunica, BU Guard, Hazelbrook, Crystal Springs, Georgetown, Falcon, Lambert, Mark, Sledge, Cleveland, Marigold, Rosedale, Winston, Ocean Springs, Helena, Moss Point, Pascagoula, Clarksdale, Friars Point, Lyon, Balonzi, Isola, Louise, Silver City, Anguilla, Cary, Flora, Rolling Fork, Bay Springs, Heidelberg, Louisville, Montrose, Batesville, Como, Cortland, Sardis, Greenwood, Ida Bena, right, butcher that, Durant, Goodman, Pickens, Tachula, Holly Grove, Jackson, Raymond, Utica, Lake Providence, Marysville, Rayville, Tahula, Morgan City, Sidon, Churchill, Fayette, Biloxi, and Gulfport. I just named to you 108 towns in Mississippi, 108 towns in Mississippi. We're going to break right now. Thank you, guys. All right, all right, all right. Those 2 minutes went by very quickly, and I want to move on to the next subject matter here. So you guys are looking at right now, safety, safety. We are about to go over and talk about safety. So uh, the sad news when we talk about safety is what's happening in our community. And I'm gonna show you guys this because we are recording it. So I want you guys to be able to see this also for yourselves, the shape of our community when we talk about the shooting and killing. I'm gonna read some of this stuff that's happening, and just think about as I'm reading this stuff to you, there are family members as we speak right now who are hurting as a result of what you're reading. All right. So this is I always tell people this is very serious. Of course, our condolences go to everyone that's hurting because of loved ones who's no longer here with us. So just take a peek. This is what makes us National Block Club University, because this is our number one reason for being in existence, is to make neighborhoods safer. Condolences also go to those 13 soldier families that died, the 150 people, civilians that died in Afghanistan, and the people in every conflict around the world. So this is what we're dealing with in the United States. In Black neighborhoods, we're dealing with, this was just Thursday and yesterday. Memphis man shot at home. Uh, Unknown woman watering her gardening is shot. We have the Dallas man shot near his home, in his home. Memphis man shot in his car. Birmingham man killed on the sidewalk. Now, you guys weren't able to see that. Now you can see what I'm showing you here. And you can follow this with me. We're only going to spend a few minutes on this. But from this, when you look at this list, again, real serious stuff, we're going to also segue over to our missing persons as well. So this here, so you guys can look at that, is what we have listed in the last 6 days. This is the violence that has taken place. And I'm going to talk to you while you're looking at this. I'm going to talk to you on what our view of what this solution is. And what it boils down to is lifestyle. It boils down to our habits, our schedule, and our network. That's what we feel is critical to stopping this killing out here of our community, killing each other. Our habits, our schedule, our network, HSN, that's lifestyle. A lot of what you see is intentional. Black people typically don't go and kill innocent people. We have had some incidents of that recently, and that worries me because that's not normal and that's not new for us. But for the most part, if you look at this list, man shot, near his home, person gardening and getting shot. These are personal conflicts that result in someone getting shot. So as you look at this list, it's unacceptable. We had 3 people shot on one block every hour in North Lawndale, 60623 zip code. 78 people already murdered in Birmingham. Triple shootings in Chicago. 2 times 5 people were shot in one day, 1 killed in Chicago. So this list is unacceptable. The solution on our end is getting all of our zip codes and our sister cities to adopt the habits of daily living habits. Every Saturday youth day, every Wednesday economic day. If we do the economic day Wednesday, not spending our money with our oppressors, that means when Metcalf, Mississippi call you about naming your 4 blacks, you can name the 4. That means these black businesses now have financial stability. Now they can make investments in hiring our brothers who others won't hire. That's going to get them off the streets. With us working with Mississippi, now we got travel with Mississippi can come to Chicago. Chicago can go to Mississippi and do development, training, things of that nature. Travel is critical. So let me give this last piece. So June 30th is a deadline for stopping the violence every year. June 30th, because there are 6 periods when we talk about this violence, and no one else can tell you this because this is something that you would have had to be developing this over the 20-year span, almost 30-year span. There's 6 periods in 4 quarters when dealing with this violence. 6 periods done over a 4-quarter period. So first is the referral period. What this is there's a time when it's good to just build up your database of people who care about stopping this killing. And that typically is January to March. Why January to March? Because for the most part, January to March represents hibernation season. People are in the house for the most part. Even in Los Angeles, the temperature is in the 60s, so it's not all that warm. It's warmer than the East Coast, but it's just typically people are going to and from. They're not hanging out. During that hibernation period, people are more indoors, so you can connect with people, get to know people. We want to see that stronger every year, where January to March, we're referring and building the database up that people who care. April is the time to train these people to make sure that they know HSN as a lifestyle change that can alter our communities, to make sure they know what to look for when people are using us and playing us. So then the test is always Memorial Day weekend. That's the first test of the summer to see if all that recruiting, referrals, and training is going to pay dividends, if our HSN is taking root. And Memorial Day weekend is the first test. The next test is the 4th of July weekend. All right. So we get into the now or next year period, which is typically before Memorial Day up until June 30th. The reason June is so important is because June represents children getting out of school. So it represents them having hope for this summer. And if we don't give them vibrancy and a reason to be hopeful once they get out of school, then psychologically, mentally, it's downhill. And the most dangerous weekend, holiday weekend in Black America is the 4th of July weekend. So you see, we got this work to do before Memorial Day weekend and 4th of July weekend. And depending on how we do on the first test, Memorial Day weekend can determine how their morale and spirits are, if people are motivated or they're going to be cynical for the rest of the summer. And so I always tell people, it's do or die between April 16th and June 30th. That's the do or die period. If we can get Black people to pool money together, Black businesses to come on board with financing, we can give these young people the hope they need to press forward through the summer and have vibrancy in our neighborhoods, interdependency, where we need each other from different neighborhoods versus the way it is now with everyone doing their own thing. DMOT, doing my own thing. Then after June 30th, if we don't hit the benchmarks of being able to hit $5,000 in multiple ways, that's a benchmark. Raising $5,000 multiple ways is a benchmark. That's our indicator that we're ready. But we can't do that. It indicates the opposite, that we're not ready. So July 1st to the end of July is our salvage period. So if we don't make it during the now or next year period, up April to June 30th, now we're just going to try and salvage the rest of the summer, because the children's spirits are broken now. Grown-ups are broken in terms of thinking this summer was going to be hopeful. So the salvage period is July 1st to July 31st. During this period, what we're doing is we're going back now trying to recruit new people who we met while we was on the ground during the April to end of July, recruit off of their networks, because every person we meet have a network. So we build off of that to see if we can get any new blood to help us with this lifestyle alter. And if not, that's fine, but we're trying to salvage that. We're not going door to door as much during this period. Now it's more calling up people and getting referrals. Then we get into August 1st into the last deadly holiday, which is Labor Day weekend. So August 1st, the whole month of August and the first week of September, we're in the last chance period. The summer is winding down. It's the dog days of August. This is our last chance to get it right. Typically, this is when we ask our white brothers and sisters to help us, because prior to that, if we have our white brothers and sisters helping us, then we haven't done for self. And that's a big part of this lifestyle change, is being accountable for yourself. We need Black men to stand up for Black boys. It's cool to have our white brothers standing up with the Black boys, but the question will be, where my daddy at? It's cool for stepdaddy, but biological daddy has the one who created, has a responsibility that stepdad can never replace. He's filling in when you're not stepping up. So we want Black people to be their own solution, but when we don't, during the last chance period, which is August, we call on anyone to help us then, even more so. Then after September 7th, we go into routine. We just go through reviewing what we did, try and make adjustments so that the next year we can come back in there and try to win again. But it really boils down to being able to raise $5,000 easily so that we can use that to put people to work and create this new habit scheduling network. So I just gave you guys something that is, you're not going to hear from cities because they don't know it. It's a gem. So hopefully you write that down and just marinate on that. But that's a big deal. Talk about this shooting and killing out here that our community is suffering from unacceptably very, very high. If you look right here, look at the next screen here. How do we stop violence in America? And it lists the 8 goals in high crime neighborhoods. I'm just gonna read this off the screen here. First, you focus on the strength of your neighbors. I know everyone don't like their neighbors, but there's something good. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So what is good about your neighbors? And whatever is good, that's what we work on. We build off of what's good. That's the second one there. It said focus on the good. It's easy. It's almost borderline lazy to focus on the negative because there's something negative and wrong with you as well. So to focus on that, we missing all the things that's right about you. And that's why we push this. We push the number 2, which is focus on the good. Number 3, increase residential interaction. Can't stress this enough. Too often we leave our community and we interact better with strangers. I mean, with people outside our community. We're saying, let's find some reason to interact with our people in our own neighborhood. Criminals don't want you doing that. What criminals want is for you to get in your car, drive off, do your own thing, don't know your neighbors. So when they crawl in your window, your neighbor can only call 911. They can't call you and say, hey, be careful when you come home. I seen someone go in your garage. So what I'm saying is criminals love an isolated person. You're an easy target. When we are increasing our interactions with each other, is good people getting to know each other. Bad people don't like that. Number 4 on this list, number 4 is, as you can see there, linked to mainstream. I just spoke about that. Black neighborhoods are isolated all over the country. And so when we link the mainstream, we're linking to the 300, I think it's 190 or 200 million others in our community that's not Black in this United States. And the way we link is if we have a white lawyer in Winnetka, that white lawyer wants to help Inglewood, that white lawyer then can find out who are the children that want to be lawyers in Inglewood, and there's the link to mainstream. So that's how we see that. Then we have, if you look here, number 5, if you can see it there, it says plan for the future. Plan for the future is what we call RAY, retirees, adults, and youth. Retirees, adults, and youth for every profession. Who are the retired carpenters? Who are the adult carpenters? Who are the young people that want to become carpenters? So that's our plan for the future right there. That's our plan for the future. That's number 5. Number 6, create and sustain functional institutions. What are institutions? Institutions are repeated patterns of behavior. That's what institutions are. And in our community, churches tend to be our main institutions. They do the same thing over and over again, their institution. The challenge is the different generations. More retirees go to church and adults, not as many youth. So we need something that will allow all 3 to be functional. So in our community, to have other ethnic groups in our community making money and that money leaving our community is backwards. Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy keep their dollars circulating in their community for their own vibrancy and economic sustainability, cultural relevance, and love. We cannot have every other ethnic group in our community taking our money and we're out here begging and asking for help. It just doesn't make sense. We'll talk about that more when we get to that segment on the agenda. Then you look here, number 7 is increase. If you look there, say increase access to resources, increase access to resources. What this is I believe we have everything we need. What we're not doing is sharing with each other. We're not aware. So by increasing access to resources, what we're really doing is making sure that we can barter, if you will. I'm excellent at this, you need that, let's do that and make that thing happen. And then increase access to information is number 8. So that's it. I'm way past time here. So we got to move on from safety and we got to switch over to young people. We got to get this conversation going about the youth. I'm behind. So let's go right here and let's jump on into our youth. Normally, now we're not going to break now because I'm a little bit behind. So you got to speed up. Before we get to our youth, let me just say this about missing persons. Let me say this about missing persons. So we have every second Wednesday is our missing persons day, and I at the bottom of the safety flyer you'll see me talking about we want to have missing persons a booth set up. So we do a lot of vending as Black people, a lot of block clubs. We do a lot of vending. We want to start having a booth, and this will be our young people from our second Wednesday agenda at different block club parties, events, and this would be our missing persons vendor booth. And what this booth is so that you can walk up while you're buying things, walk up and get a trinket or something that just lets you know that we want to always remind you to be on the lookout for these personnel. So of course, in your local city, it'll show the people who've been missing. And that way it's a constant reminder, and it'll also allow people to give their input on what we can do to make it stronger. But the point is to create a presence at all of these vendor opportunities that we see. The other piece with missing persons, I always love to ask people, if someone was abducted and living on your block, would you know it? That's personal. Can you tell if it's someone that you normally don't see on your block? Are you so much with blinders on that you don't know who's on your block and don't care? It is what it is, but we want to pose that question because that will allow criminals, kidnappers, abductors less cushion. On some blocks, the kidnappers, abductors have full reign because the neighbors are doing their own thing and not aware of what's happening, who should be on the block and who's not. So I wanted to just put that out there now. Let me go into this here, which is our young people. Monday, for all the Chicago leaders, we have 6 zip codes we're going to be issuing smoke alarms from. This is from Peacemakers Worldwide organization led by Erica Dunn. We have about 200 smoke alarms, fire alarms that we want to give out on a Monday, because every Monday is safety day with our habits, with our lifestyle, Monday safety day. So we're going to be concentrating on a 606 20. That's Auburn Gresham, 60636, which is Denise King and West Inglewood, 60629, which is Deborah Pryor. We're going to be doing 60637 with Claudette Reddick, 60619 with Erica Dunn, and 60628 with Charles Robinson. Those zip codes are ready to go. We're going to get the smoke alarms there so we can get them out over the month of September. All right, let's take a break. I wasn't going to take a break, but I want you guys to be able to read this about the youth. As soon as I come back, this will be just a 1-minute break. As soon as I come back, we're going to talk about this right here, which is the young people. The young people. We got some that I'm excited about with our youth. All right, we are back right now. As you can see, we behind big time. So the youth, every Saturday is Youth Day to us. Every Saturday we concentrate on our young people. And I also was going to have Rodney Gibson on here, last name G Gibson, from Chicago. He was going to talk about the young people and technology. Because of our brilliance of our youth, we want to make sure that they have every opportunity to be connected with people who can elevate their skill set and help them out. Rodney is not available right now, so I don't know. If he comes on later, I would most certainly bring him up. But in the meantime, let me just talk about the other things we're doing. So let's do this. Let me scroll down so you guys can read. Last month, the Gary youth was about to get ready to be involved. My update with that is because of transportation and July has been a down month in donations. We haven't been able to onboard our Gary youth. We did tell them, communicate to them where we are. So they are waiting for us, you, to get these donations in so we can get our young people. With the price of food now, it's definitely, when we had the young people, we had to feed them. So that's a big part of it. So we had to get the donations up to $1 a month coming in so we can get them young people. We also talked about, you can see there July 28th, the youth cutting grass. That process did not go according to plan this summer because of the lack of $12 coming in. On one hand, we are doing 4 months better than we did last year at this time. But you guys, it's $12 a year. It's $1 a month. It's not acceptable that we don't have millions of dollars coming in. We're talking something that people throw away. It's just a matter of getting in agreement and executing. A lot of people say they're going to do it, but it's just like Nike. We just have to do it, get that money in, because every day that the dollar isn't in to us, that's some young people that we're not impacting and influencing. Then this month, F through K last name, we're searching for 18 to 21 year olds. 18 to 21 year olds. I put this call out maybe 2 times, and I really need people to help us look in your families, look in your networks. Who do you have that is a young adult? What we want to do with these 18, 21 years is going to help Black people out everywhere. So this is especially true because the 18-year-olds are going to be helping us when it comes to rural America, ideal Mississippi. 19 years are going to be helping us with our U.S. cities. 20 years going to be helping us with Africa, and 21 years going to be helping us in their zip codes. So not linking them to us is holding back Africa, Mississippi, U.S., and then of course your own zip code. So we hopefully will get you to link them in with us sooner rather than later. So that's it for the youth section. Now let's get into economic development. So because we just came off a break, normally I would take a break there, but I'm going to dive right in to the economic development piece here. Let me show you guys on the screen first so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about when we talk about economics this month, right here. Give it a second for the screen to pull up. All right, so here we go right here. That's youth. So let's go down a little bit. There we go. Economic development for last names F through K. Got some stuff to show you guys here. So first, we raised $4,700 if you look at July 24th, A through E Summit last month. So I'm happy to tell you we are at 5,200 now. So that's $500 more than we did of last month. So that, I'm grateful for every dollar we get, but I'm just telling you guys, because it's so low, we really want to see more people support this. We did not get, if you look at July, we did not get the $20,000 we was hoping to get, which was 5,000 from Gary, 5,000 from Detroit, 5,000 from St. Louis, and 5,000 from Milwaukee. Ideally, we would have been able to get 35 businesses in each of them cities to finance 144, which is 12 people's $12. And we would have subsequently been able to have 3 people in all of those cities working together, working to help us to create these jobs and unite our community. That didn't happen this winter, this season. So we're going to go back to the drawing board, look at what we can do stronger and better, and we're going to approach it next year with the same vigor, and we're going to see if we can get it done then. There's no way around this. The person that we met with, the global leader with the $100,000, that's cool, but it's more powerful if the grassroots does it versus us relying on top-down support. We're going to accept top-down support, but it's really as a result of bottom-up, not seeing enough value and pulling the money together. So now, if you look at F through K today, loan redeployment is happening. What is this? We've been fortunate to create 5 different internal banks, if you will, financing, where we had 50 people trust us with $100 for 30 days. That's $5,000. We got 2 groups of that. So that's 100 people trusting us with $100. That's $10,000. That's powerful. That's trust. And the fact that they got their money back, they're willing to do it again. So we have that bankroll of trust, and that's important. Now, we got the 35 businesses who did $144. That's another 5,000. Again, that's on the business side. Now, what we're doing now is we're starting to get those same superstars that trust us to now trust each other and start financing each other's projects and emergencies. So for the first time, we're getting ready to have businesses loan each other money. And this is next level for us. They've trusted us the last 4 years with this process of loans to us. Now we're going to get them to trust each other with loan to each other. Now, this is where you guys come in in the community. In a perfect scenario, we will have 1,000 people guaranteeing $5 in the event that a business defaults. Now, this is stuff that we really would talk about one-on-one, because we're not making anyone do this. This isn't something that's corporate. This is just Black people agreeing to be there for each other. So if our business people are trusting other business people to put up capital to help them with anything that's going to create jobs and create economic activity for us, in a perfect world, we got our people on the back end ready to massively pull together a little money and take care of any gaps that take place. So that's a big thing what's happening starting this month, and we'll see where this goes. I will keep you guys up to date, but this is good for us because in our communities, we got title loans, payday loans, everyone getting 380% interest off Black people. We're getting Black businesses to trust each other. That's big, because that can start mitigating all these pawn shops in our neighborhood making money off of us. So that's that piece. Ron Carter, who's in Chicago, zip code 60620, from the low end, which is the Dearborn homes out there, his vision is to get this organic grocery store down there. Now, we got superstar Ina Jones, who would be on here last night, Jay Jones, if it wasn't for another commitment. She's doing what Ron wants to do. So we're coordinating so that they can know each other, and she possibly can help him because she's opening up these stores in all neighborhoods over the country. So we'll see how that goes, but I wanted to make you aware of both of these superstars and what they're doing. But Ron wants to get that store over there in what he calls a food desert, which is 29th and State, that area there. I personally been over there helping him meet people and trying to get the people to take this and run with it. Do want to talk about the 7 pipelines of money real quick, so you guys know the 7 pipelines of money that comes into our community, to National Block Club University. So you'll know why I'm confident that as we get this ball rolling, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. We have the number 1 pipeline that we get money from is through our leaders. Our governors, district leaders, mayors, they're the ones who keep us going. We got some leaders that every month send in they $12 and $12 from other people. So that's one pipeline. We want to keep recruiting people to become leaders. Number 2 pipeline is businesses. I already shared with you, we got one group of 35 businesses doing the 144, so that's 5,000. Now we're working on the Gary 35, then we're gonna work on the Detroit 45 and keep going. So businesses doing 144 is another pipeline to us. We only keep $12. The rest of it, they get back throughout the year. The 3rd pipeline we have is for professionals. Yesterday, my meeting with the person that was a global leader at an accounting firm, she's a professional. So with the professionals, it's a different conversation, but it's the same end result. The professionals tend to be able to link us to other movers and shakers, which is what we expecting out of this So that pipeline is one of our weaker pipelines. We're not that strong professional dollars coming in. Educators, team pipeline number 4. We have a good group of teachers, and those teachers are the ones who have access to the young people, so we can keep the awards going and meeting new young people. But on the economic side, that's a weak pipeline for us as well. The 5th pipeline is the referrals. This is awesome in terms of you guys referring people. It just takes time once you refer us to people for them to trust us and release the $12 to us. But referrals is how we're going to grow exponentially. Then we have pipeline number 6 is the suburbs, the people who are much more stable, who's out there in the suburbs. That is not nowhere near where it needs to be. Then the last one is the alumni. Alumni is the second most strongest for us. So leadership is number 1, then the alumni, people who've been donating year after year. So that's what I wanted to put out there from the economic side there. Let's go to construction. Got a lot to talk about here. So we're a little bit behind again. At the construction, we're going to get into education. That starts at 4, so I'm 4 minutes behind. So let me get right into the Supreme Court has denied, the U.S. Supreme Court have picked up the case and denied the Black farmers from getting out of the $1.9 trillion package, Corona package. $4 billion was going to help Black farmers. It was an uproar when that was announced, and now the Supreme Court said it's unconstitutional. They can't help just Black farmers out. And let me just put my personal note here, disclaimer, this is my personal note. It flies in the face of us. You have essentially 2 different groups, white farmers, let's say white farmers on the left and white farmers on the right. Let's just say the Black farmers, out of this $4 billion that they was going to get grant wise, that money was going to white farmers on the right who have put debt on these Black farmers. So that 4 billion, if it would have went through, would have went to the white farmers on the right. It was the white farmers on the left that took it to court and now got it nixed. So now it's unconstitutional. So now they don't have to worry about Black farmers getting the leg up, which they wasn't, because it was going to white farmers on the right. So either way it go, Blacks got screwed. Not funny. But this is why what we do matters so much, because the bottom line when we talk about the farming and food industry, period, in our community, is so important that Black people recognize that we have to kind of do this on our own. We can't wait on others to save us or to extend us an olive branch. So what this means to you and your household is, do you buy anything from a Black farm? Anything, a cucumber, corn, anything. And if you don't, it's okay. Let's work to do that. Let's work to do that, because anything we get from a farm of Black people is better than not getting it from a farm for Black people. So we want to really, and this is what Governor Denise and her zip code does with our farming zip code in San Diego. We want to create this database and list and process so that you can be buying some of your food. If you're not growing it on your own, buying some of your food from us. And if you are growing it on your own, then can you make some of it available so others can buy it from you? And remember, you get the name of Black person as one of your 4 for Metcalf, Mississippi, if you do that. So I wanted to put that out there, that this $4 billion wasn't going to help us anyway from my outside perspective. We have some superstars in this world who can give a more detailed assessment on that, but I just wanted to put that out there. So then construction. So getting into this construction, there's tons of money that's going to be coming, $3.5 trillion, I believe, on fixing our road, bridges, expressways, things of that nature. The sad thing for us, we already know as Black people that we, don't have in our zip codes, we do not have a database and a network of young people that want to get into the trades. We don't. What we have is a hodgepodge of different groups who's doing pieces of it. And what we need is a centralized version of it. So we know on every block who are the carpenters, bricklayers, welders, roofers, etc. And then put that together by zip code so that it's something that's more tangible that you can read. And then we need to share that so that the people who need this work can access it. And also the people who are subject matter experts will tapping into contracts. Because what's ultimately going to end up happening, this money is going to come to counties, it's going to go to the municipalities, and the in-crowd clicks are going to get it. And we're not going to see the biggest bang for our tax dollars. The Hispanic community is well positioned. We're out of position. So what we're talking about, construction, is critical. F through K construction people. This month, next month is L through O construction people. We really need to get the construction teams knowing our structure and how we can be working together. So that leads me to, if you look on the screen here, we have Reverend Taylor, amazing man. That's a plumber. He has done a phenomenal job of linking us to people. You heard me talk about him last summit. So I'm talking about him again because I've had a chance to go to an event he asked me to speak at, went to it, met some amazing Black men, one of them being Mr. Al Banks, and what he's doing with the young Black men in particular, and teaching them different trades and building something next to a Black church that is open 7 days a week. So that was good because we definitely need our churches looped into this. So that was a beautiful thing. But more importantly, I shot a video so that people can see what he was doing. And sure enough, we got linked with Mr. Elliott, Mr. Sampson. They both are construction men in the field doing the work, collecting money, and want to hire these young people. So that's an example on why filming and marketing matters so much. So we're going to create this little league in every zip code of our young people. We want to steer into the different trades, and we'll just take that from there. But as the money is coming down the pipeline, we want to be in position to access it. All right, so now switch over to education. I hope we're going to be joined by one of our superstars, Kendra, but let's go to break now because education is a big one. So we right here, and it's 4:10, so we are not too far off. When we come from break, we're going to get into the career linkages. We'll get into the awards. Then we'll go into policy. So we're going to make up that time here shortly. Thank you. All right, everyone. I am back. So I want to keep respecting everyone's time here. The screen is still sharing about our education. So let's get into that. I want to make sure that I share this on my Facebook. I thought you guys were watching it already. I am back. So I want to keep respecting everyone's time here. So I'm just going to get this posted on Facebook, you guys, and then education. So let's get into that. I want to make sure that I share this on my Facebook. I thought you guys were watching it already. I am back. So I want to keep respecting everyone's time here. So I'm just going to get this posted on Facebook, you guys. Okay, here we go. So now we're getting into the education section. And for those who don't know, we give away money. We give away money all the time to our K through 12th graders. It's something that we really appreciate. We love doing because anytime you can put an economic incentive in the hands of our young people, that's a good thing. And so we do that all the time, and we take great pleasure in doing that. And we will continue to do that. Even in the big picture scheme of things, the way we want to see our dollars stay in our community is so that we can give kindergartners through 12th graders constant economic incentive to do well academically. And so that's a big deal for us, and we're not going to veer off of that. What I want to take a moment here and show you guys is what is different with how we're going to get the faith community to help us out on the education side. Let me say it again. We're going to get the faith community, the different spiritual leaders, to help us with the different career fields of our young people, and putting money behind what it is that they aspire to become. And of course, when people see this chart, you're going to say, what if my kid don't want to be a nurse? What if my kid don't want to be whatever it is? Because we had time on our side, let your kid go through each phase to just make certain that that's not something that they want to do. And what this does, you don't know that they might meet a mentor for that field that they don't want to be in, whose daughter is in the field that your child does want to be in. So by allowing the relationship to at least be introduced to each other, it's going to open up doors that wouldn't have been opened up if you closed the door and said, that's not what my child want to be, so I'm not going to let them meet him or her. So my point is, anyone that we're bringing to the table is people that we sort of feel confident that they're adding value in whatever arena that they're good in. And so we hope you would trust that as to why we're saying, please meet this person. if we're saying meet this person, is because we feel like this person adds something to your child. So what you're about to look at are the different kindergarten to 12th grader professions. And with these professions, again, we're not saying that you have to be a nurse if you don't want to be a nurse, but we're saying if you go through this grade and grades linked to this, you're going to meet good people that just want to see Black people be successful. And that's a good network in your, that's a good person to have in your network. So let's get, let's open this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Let's get my face here and exactly what I'm talking about. That's it right there. Give it a second while it queues up and it come on board. I want you guys to look and see what we're talking about from the career linkages. Let's zoom in so you guys really can see that. Especially to people seeing this for the first time, you're going to be amazed. So, and I won't read all of these, but what we're saying, if you look to the right, there's 7th graders. We want all Air Force veterans to help 7th graders, auto mechanics to help 7th graders. We want engineers to help 7th graders. We want gas station owners to help 7th graders, roofers to help 7th graders, journalists to help 7th graders. So we want to make certain if you're a parent of a 7th grader, you feel a lot of love, you feel a lot of support, because as you can see, That's 6 different professions all being linked to support your child and financial tutoring, mentoring, you name it. That's what we want to see happen there. And then just take a peek. I'll give you a second to look at each of those so you can see the linkages. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to look at this. I scroll down so you can see a few other the other grades and professions. Uh, we as we do this, we're living in a different world because literally every profession is assigned to one grade. So now these students might have grown-ups fighting to support them. Whereas the way it's set up now is who you know. In this regard, we're going to make sure that you know that there's a line, a strategic line, a reason to interact based on what a person's profession. So you're going to have a guaranteed audience of people ready to help you in your zip code in your community. So this is phenomenal. This is what we felt like we was missing in our community and what we needed to do to turn our communities around from an education standpoint is to get them linked in to other people who can add value to them. We recognize that we can't be the end all be all. We can't be everywhere helping everyone. But with this format, what this does, it does allow people to be helped based on a format, and they can be helped anywhere and everywhere because of the way this is set up is by your zip code. So everything comes back to your zip code. So if you're watching this from New Orleans or Birmingham, you want to know who's my governor, my zip code, so I can find out how this is working in my zip code. So that's it. Be patient with us because again, when we just raised $5,000 for the whole year, that tells you, and that's nationwide. That tells you that you know we're not hitting it out the park. We should be raising 5,000 in every city, so we should be at $100,000. So temper when you question why it ain't working, why you haven't heard about it in your neighborhood. A lot of it has to do with people not donating their $12, so we don't have the marketing dollars to put out there so that you can see everything you're seeing here manifesting because of we had the money to push it. All right. So I wanted to get that out there. I want you guys to take a peek at that, really marinate on that. And then the next thing I want to show you is going to be this piece right here. Let's see if I can get this pulled up. Let's see if we can get this one pulled up right here. I don't know if this is going to allow me to share this with you. Now I have to keep the time, you guys, because this here is the section where Kendra should be coming in, but we good. If she don't come in, it's gonna allow me to keep breaking this down for you. Okay, let's see if it allows me to pick this right here on the screen. If it does, we're in business. This is the debut. No one has seen this on a national summit until now, if it opens up, and it looks like it will. So in the meantime, the next thing we're going to talk about are the awards and the money we want to put behind the awards. And then we go switch over into talk about the teachers and summer breaks, because I want to really highlight that too. All right, here it opened up. It's really small though. Let's see if I can get it bigger for you. Yep, there we go. There we go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm excited about this, you guys. Let's look at this. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's do this because I don't like what's happening here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the screen here. It's showing you the screen and not me. It looks like it's showing me. Okay, yeah, it's still showing that. So let's end this. All right. Now, I don't want to spend too much time. Let me just read it because I don't want to. We only got 30 minutes, so let me read to you guys what this is, and you can see it later if I'm able to pull it up. Fine. If not, don't worry about it. But what we did with each of those grades, you saw, we linked all non-denominational churches in our communities all over America to support financially kindergartners. We linked all metaphysical churches around this country to support first graders. We linked all Jews to support second graders, all Moors to support third graders financially, not converting them over to their faith. All the Catholics leaders supporting fourth graders, all the Pentecostal supporting fifth graders, all the missionary Baptists supporting sixth graders, all the Church and God in Christ supporting financially seventh graders, all the African Methodists supporting eighth graders, all the Islamic believers supporting ninth graders, all the Lutherans supporting 10th graders, all the United Methodists supporting 11th graders, and all the Baptists supporting 12th graders. With this model, as we meet pastors, we're able to have a strategic conversation about how they can help. A great example is this month. We have money right now, $20 that came from a metaphysical spiritual leader who metaphysical is linked to first graders. So right now, today, I'm hoping to have this competition with a first grader so I can award them this money before the money's out so we can show the receipts. This young person holding up the $20 that they won because of this process I'm describing right here. So this isn't down the line. This is right now process. Okay. So I wanted you guys to see that on the education front real quick with the teachers. Because of what we're doing on the economic side with the loans, we're also lining up for our teachers, because every summer when the teachers get out, I worry about teachers being able to survive during these heightened economic times. So on the teacher front, we want to continue to make available our version of the secondary job where they can work from their vacation spot in Miami or in Mexico and still earn money covering our kindergarten university through 12th grade university. So that's kind of a nugget we want to push for our teachers, to always know that you can earn money from wherever you are by working what we do from a social media standpoint, a remote standpoint. So that's it on the education front. If Kendra Johnson comes on from Indianapolis, I'm going to bring her on so you guys can hear from her. But we're going to move on now to our policy section. This section here we normally go to break for, but because we're a little behind, I'm going to breeze past the break, and we're going to go right into this. I do want to show it. I want you guys to see it. Okay, so we just left education. So now we're here. This is policy. Policy for last names F through K. Now, let me explain what this is before I go too deep. So we have in all of our neighborhoods, we have people talking about accountability, because we know, we're not blind, that we're getting the short end of the stick from our tax dollars coming back to being in violent areas where we're being shot at and killed. So we know better is attainable, but we don't see it from the people we pay salaries to. So you hear a lot of people talking about policy and accountability. What this here section is designed for is so that we can pull together those people we call Team 2, which is the accountability team. These are people who are watchdogs. They love watching and holding accountable what people say if they're going to keep their word. They also willing to go out there, march, rally, protest in the event that we want to do this. So with the policy, what we want to see happen before we unleash the people who don't mind going out there to hold people accountable, what we want to be able to do is make sure that there's a paper trail first. There's a paper trail first. So what the paper trail is a January through December report of what each gas station have given back to the community, beauty salon, beauty supply store is giving back to the community, apparel store giving back, nail salon, corner store, cell phone shop, and of course liquor stores. If we have that January through December tracker, it allows us then to be, when we go, we can say, look at these trends. This gas station has reduced how much they're giving every month. So now when we go to hold them accountable, we have a trend, a paperwork to say our new policy is that you need to do X, Y, and Z. If not, we're not spending money with you. And I want to say this on the race side, because there are white people who feel like we want to that we feel sorry for ourselves and that we want to socialize everything and make everything about social. And I just want to say this for those white people, because I got tremendous white people who don't feel like that. So this is for those white people who feel like that. If we talk about social or welfare or taking care of people, remember how this country got started. Free labor. And that's the biggest welfare, if you will, is getting something free. And not only that, but being evil about it with killing, raping, being a child molester, people in the process. So I just want to put that to those people who speak about welfare, socialism, and all this. Think about how this country got going. Then going back to in our community, if we look at it from the lens of we can do for self, then ultimately we want to see them gone. So it don't matter how much money they donate. We want a Black person to keep the dollars in our community circulating, just like Chinatown, Greektown, Little Italy. It's no different. The problem is because so many people eat off of us that when we talk that, it can disrupt global operations because a lot of people are benefiting from our pain, profiting off of our pain. So I get that, but I just wanted to put that out there. So we're going to talk about we talked about team 2, the accountability piece, making sure that we're doing report cards first. Let's talk about the politicians. And I have a whole segment on whose elections are coming up. We just had Wolfern and Birmingham reelected. We had an election in New Orleans, but with the storm, I don't know the results of that one. So the bottom line when it comes to our politicians, we have to create a pipeline where we're grooming the next generation of people who's going to run for office, and we can support them because we're grooming them versus being pushed down our throats with this two-party system, which Black people need to have our own party so we can force both parties to tap dance to our agenda. That'll be down the line. We work on that for the next decade. But in the meantime, we just got to be more strategic about who we give our support to politically. Okay. So we do want to keep voter registration going. That's why I said 60652 with Brittany. They're responsible for all voter registration drives. Also, St. Paul, Minnesota is the national headquarters for that. All right. Let's talk about now. Let's talk about COVID and the health side. COVID and the health side here. Yeah, we're ready to talk about COVID. Then we got legal, then we'll close it out with the convention. So I think this gives me enough time to push this. Okay, so let's go with the COVID right now. All right, so I can show you guys this. So let me bring this up because I want you guys to see what I see here. I want you guys to see what I see. So let's go to COVID in Africa first. All right, so we started in Africa, and I'm working my way to the U.S. You guys can see the COVID stuff. But as this screen comes up, let me point out to you that only in Black people countries have been totally. I got to zoom in. That's too small. You guys can't. Let me zoom in first. Then I'm gonna talk about Egypt and South Africa, and why those numbers are so high, totally so high for their populations. And I believe a lot of it has to do with, from a spiritual standpoint, people who took over somebody's country and they shouldn't be there in the first place. And so this COVID is wreaking havoc on them. That's just my personal belief when it comes to these people who are in South Africa, who think because they was born there that they South African, they have a right to be there. I got my thoughts on that, but it is what it is. They there. I do think we gotta be willing to right size what's happening in that country. We can't just allow it to continue to so-called sort itself out because that'll take way too long. The fact of the matter is there are people who invaded, went over there and have resources, and their ancestors, their children are benefiting from what they evil parents did over there. And we need to not think we got to wait to fix that. We need to have that addressed. So what you're going to be looking at right here is Africa and the COVID numbers. You're going to see in red are the Arabs who come and taken over Egypt and created, split Sudan into two. United Nations agreed to that, which I don't agree with. And so their numbers are high. And if you look all over Africa with the African people, you'll see that the numbers are not high. And I just think because of something with the melanin in the skin and the body makeup, and it's similar to when the slaves was brought, when Black people was brought over here as slaves to this country, we endured those rough voyages because of the DNA, the makeup. And I do believe that. And so with that being said, these South Africa and Egypt, a lot of deaths over there, a lot of people dying. And I do think a lot of that has to do with the not as melanated skin and all the benefits that come with that. All right, so you guys can see that. So that's that. I want to go to the US. I want you guys to look at this next screen. So just look at some of those countries and look at the numbers. We literally, if you look at America, one state has more than like 10 different countries in Africa when it comes to COVID deaths, cases and deaths. And it begs the question, like, what's wrong? Why are Africans not catching COVID? What is going on? Why are they not as susceptible? Why are the numbers so low in an exploited country like that? Like, what's the deal? And I personally, again, I take away from a divine standpoint that it's just saying something. And I'm grateful to God for that. I'm not going to complain about that. So anyway, let me switch gears now. I want you guys to be able to see the COVID across the US. Then we're going to close it out with COVID in Chicago. So you guys are going to be able to see all those numbers there. So let me take Africa down. So now let's put up the US. So you guys can see what I see from the COVID numbers in the United States. Here it is right here. Wait, no, that's not it. Thought I had it opened up. Okay, give me 1 second, people. We want that to open all the way up. So let's close this. Let's close Africa. Let's close that. Let's close that. Okay. Try to close that. Just so you guys know, I try to have all of these done and ready so that way I don't have to spend this time looking. But I'm gonna tell you, with the internet and how slow it is, sometimes all my preparation sometimes it still gets me to right now where I'm being delayed. But here we go. This here is, when it comes up, we give it a second. This here is the COVID cases in the US. Now I want you to remember some of the numbers that you saw in Africa. You saw, for instance, in Somalia, 17,000 people have COVID and been documented to have COVID in Somalia. Let me zoom in because this is real small for you guys to see. So this is America. This here's the US. These are our COVID cases here. 26 million cases, 458,000 deaths. So let's look at right here. This is Minnesota. 664,000 people got it, 67,000 deaths. If you looked at in Africa, 416 deaths in Ivory Coast, 121 deaths in Sierra Leone, 1,729 deaths in Senegal, 1,001 deaths in Ghana. Like, that's not even 6,000 deaths on the western part of Africa. We got 67,000 people dead in St. Paul, Minnesota. I mean, let's look at where it's the highest at. The highest is California. Let's go to Cali. Okay, I gotta fix that. That is wrong. It is not 67,000 deaths. Oh, 7,829 deaths. I am totally wrong. Please forgive me. 7,829 deaths in St. Paul, Minnesota. But guess what? It's not that many deaths in 6 countries in Africa still. So I'm just off a little bit with the numbers, but in terms of the amount, it's still less than the 1,700 in Senegal, the 1,000 in Ghana, the 2,300 in Nigeria. And Nigeria has 130,000, 190,000 people. It's the most populous country in Africa. So for them to have just 2,300 and we had 7,000 in St. Paul, but let's go back to California. 65,000 people dead in California. 4.4 million people affected. Now, if we go to South Africa, the worst in Africa, which is where non-Black people are, 2.7 million people have it in South Africa. And I don't know if they the natives, Blacks in Africa, or they're the Dutch who came over there, invaded them. I don't know, but it just, the numbers lend me to consider that. They got 81,000 people dead over there in South Africa. That's a lot of people. It trumps our numbers here in the US. New York, 53,000 people. If you look there, New York, 53,000 people killed. But again, we're comparing states that's a part of the US as a country compared to countries over there. So the numbers should definitely be a whole lot, but it's not. That was you looking at that. Now I want to close out with the Chicago numbers. So as you look at the COVID cases across this country, now I'm about to bring you up to speed with what we're dealing with in Chicago. And that's pretty sad because Chicago numbers is off the charts as well. That's not acceptable. I promote people wearing masks if for no other reason, because what you breathe in goes in your system. And I just know it's smog out here, germs out here. You know, you walking, people sneezing in front of you, the wind blow right back there. You're in the car, someone smoked a cigarette, that smoke go right back there. It shows you how it's traveling. So I'm an advocate that if you're around people, you wear that mask just to keep other people's germs away from you. All right. So anyway, let me stop sharing. Now let's go to Chicago. Let's look at our COVID cases in Chicago. That's if it's open. There it is. It's not open yet. Let's see what's taking so long. It is open. There it is right there. All right. I don't know why it didn't open up for me. Let's do it now. Here we go. So let's zoom this puppy in, you guys. This should be green this month. So August 26th, every Thursday is Health Day to us. Every Thursday is Health Day. So that's what you're looking at. This is Thursday, August 26th numbers here. So let's go. We look at it. I'm going to go through these real quick. Uh-oh, it's still spinning. So you guys not there yet. Sorry. Let you guys catch up. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it. I'm about to zoom in a little bit more so you really, really can see it. Okay. We go off real quick. This won't take us that long. So 15,000 cases in North Austin since the pandemic started. 8,300 cases in Humboldt Park, 60651, North Austin and 60636. Garfield Park, 3,600 cases. That's low relatively. Garfield Park, 60624. East Garfield Park, 38,200 more cases. East Garfield Park, 60612. Then you move down to South Austin, almost 5,000 cases, 11,000 cases in North Lawndale. That's the Hispanic community over there. Again, when I look at the numbers, it really makes me wonder how COVID impacts Black people, melanated people versus non-melanated, because here in the Hispanic parts that we share, look at the numbers, 11,000. That's not Black people all the way. And North Austin is not Black people all the way, 15,000. So we see a lot of Hispanics in these circles. So I'm not sure. I would love for an expert to give insight on that possible theory. Bronzeville over here, 3,000 cases over there. New City, another area that's predominantly Hispanic and Black, 7,000 cases over there. More than anything over here, except for where we share Humboldt Park is shared with not all Blacks as well as North Austin. Then you go over England, which is now becoming more Hispanic. 3,600 cases there. Look where the cases is the highest in all of Chicago. 18,000 cases in one neighborhood. Zip code 60629 Marquette Park, and we know the Hispanic community is deep over there. Then we got 5,700 Ashburn. That's black, so that's high for blacks over there. Auburn Gresham, 6,134 cases. That's pretty high. Inglewood, 2,604 cases in Inglewood. Washington Park, 2,700 cases in Washington Park, which is gentrifying big time, but 4,000 cases over there. I want to think that that's black. 5,400 in Black Chatham. That's a problem. Then you go over here, Washington Heights, 49. I got to look at that number and make sure that number is accurate because it looks the exact same. Yep, so 49, 43 is the exact same number as 44. Wow. So that is accurate based on the Illinois Department of Health. Roseland, 6,000 cases. Roseland is black, so that's a problem over there. Then Calumet Heights, 87. That's more Hispanic over there. 8,772. South Shore, 3,930. So let me cut this off. We're done with this section. Here's the bottom line. As I said, masking up makes sense just because when you cough, you sneeze, not everyone cover their mouth. How people, because they had a mask on, they feel it's okay just to sneeze right into the mask. I just think it's a bad habit. You know, coughing to your sleeve, it just as a habit. You know, don't just blast out your germs. You know, I just don't like that. But that's just my personal issue. All right. So anyway, let's go to the legal, and then we're gonna wrap up, you guys. We have 15 minutes to go. Want to cover the legal part, and then we go hit the closeout part. We do have another break to take. So before I get to the legal, let me pull the legal up on the screen. We'll go break for 3 minutes here. Then we come back. We're going to jump into the legal part, talk about what the future looks like from a legal standpoint. Rose Joshua was on with me earlier today, so I don't anticipate she's going to get on. This is a phenomenal attorney I learned more about today, and I've been knowing her for quite some time, and now I got an extra degree of respect for her because of what I learned about her today. Rose Joshua, last name J. This is F through K this whole month. So what you're looking at here is the legal. So let's come back in 3 minutes, you guys. So please take a breath. All right, everyone. We're back. So we're gonna next month, we're gonna have our sponsors. And the sponsors, like in this case, the legal hour might be brought to you by attorney such and such. And the benefit of this is just going to be how we get ourselves in position to operating at a higher level, because the day is coming when people are going to really be tuning in and watching these and sharing these because of the information being shared. And so that attorney that sponsors this legal section can get some new business. And so for every one of them sections, the youth section, getting people to sponsor is going to allow us to get more revenue in that then can translate to more awards being given, more people being hired, and all that good stuff. So for those who don't know, we have a history and a track record of doing mock trials. And we are no way near as sharp as our professional lawyers are. But we've been around TV, so we know what we look for in terms of the entertainment side of Judge Judy and TV. So what we are is an anti-violence organization. So what we have done in the past is gone in vacant lots and set up the mock trial scenario where you got the prosecutor and defense side, you got the jury side, you got the audience, and we had the judge up front. And we've done this as a way of bringing vibrancy to areas that was just a vacant lot. So we turn vacant lots into places where people come in to sit and listen to the trials. Now, we haven't done this in the physical in about 5 to possibly 7 or 8 years. Our communities have changed in terms of the hopelessness that we will have to make sure that we have Team 3 security out there because of the degree of hopelessness that is out there now. So we will be very more cautious taking our young people to the vacant lots. We can't go inside a church basement, that type. So we'll still do it that way. But the mock trials is so important for what we as a whole need to do. And here's why. It has, number one, it invests in our young people. That's number one, allowing them to belong to something that they believe they want to grow up and become at an early age. It allows them to meet people who are real attorneys. So the networking is important. Then it allows them the chance to practice. Like they get to really look up. So here's how it works. Last month, the mock trial was about police and a citizen suing the police. So that allows the plaintiff or the defense children that want to be a lawyer to go and build a case to prosecute, also build a case to defend, and then test it and see what the public thinks about it as the jury. That's awesome. That's a little league for them becoming lawyers. At least getting exposed so that then they can become in that pathway to becoming a lawyer or even a judge. This month, the mock trials is about corrupt politicians, someone that took a bribe for $5,000 to pass a law and got caught, and now trying to say that they didn't take the money. It was they thought it was a campaign donation. So anyway, just imagine our 8th graders and up getting out there, taking the case, looking up, preparing, then coming and presenting, and what that can do so that our professional attorneys would know the young people they can call upon to help them and come in their office and do little things just to be exposed in that environment. So I think this lawyer piece, this mock trial piece is phenomenal for Miami, for Birmingham, New Orleans, for Detroit, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, for Kansas City, St. Paul, Cleveland, Gary, Chicago, Atlanta. This is a big deal to get these mock trials going. And with Zoom, now we can do it all over the place. So here in Chicago, we had Cassandra, Paul, Rose, Regina, last Tuesday. Every 4th Tuesday is Lawyers Day. We had a chance to get them to communicate with each other via text, and that's a big part of this, is getting them to talk. So we're going to get them to do even more, and we're going to get this legal hour sponsored, so that's going to be a big deal. All right. So St. Louis, Missouri is our headquarters for all our lawyers. St. Louis, Missouri. So our people in St. Louis, we're going to really start leaning on you guys to Find a elementary school, get the 8th graders there. Let's do a St. Louis versus everyone mock trial. All right, we're closing out here, you guys. We're closing out. We're not going to break. I'm just going to close us out with wrap up here. So um, things happen. Things happen. And so I want to, as we close out, and I'm going to talk about the conventions, I want to talk about why what we do in this structure matters so much. The fact of the matter is, as I stated when I opened, we can have great intentions, but when you're in these communities of destabilization and this age of social media where everything is has full access to you, it's easy to get distracted and pull out of where you want to be. I learned this in 1994 in the Navy, how when you're in port, people find reasons to be busy. Some people are busy. But the point is, when you're on that ship and you're away from the port, all that stuff has to go back burner or you find someone else to do it. So the distractions go from 90 to 1. All right. And for me, what I got out of that is that we have to build out in every city, there's a team of people from out of town, in town, and they're on assignment or on duty for a certain period of time, 10 days, 100 days, 6 months, whatever. So that way we always have people who are committed without the distractions to execute. I've watched so many people start and stop because they didn't account for the fact that they're overexposed and they're susceptible to the volatility in our neighborhoods. Under our plan, we have Philadelphia people here, 10 of them. We got 10 people from Mount Bayou here. We got 10 people from St. Louis here. So when it's time to get things done, we got people we can call because they're here. So I just wanted to put that out there. We ideally would have had F through K, would have been Rodney Gibson, Karen Hicks, Kendra Johnson, Edie Jacobs, Denise King, Karenita Jones, would have been on here with us today, hearing from their perspective. It's okay, because the beauty is we only bug you based on your last name every 6 months. So we don't have to bug our superstars again until February next year. So hopefully in February, they won't get, they'll be able to follow through and actually get on with us. And we'll continue pushing, because if your last name is FUK, we hope you would have joined us as well today. So I wanted to stress why this is so important to do it. And if any of those leaders need someone next month, its last names L, M, N, and O next month. So they already know, even though it's not their turn no more next month, if they need help, they know who they can call. So that's what I wanted to really make sure I spoke about during the closeout, was this. Now, the conventions, and then we're done. The Gary, Indiana conventions. The purpose of these conventions, which we're calling jubilees also, so that way we'll know it's not this corporate tight white shirt scenario, you can come relax, is to give us a reason to travel. It gives us a reason to come together and build up a Black city. Gary, Indiana is still a Black city. Gary, Indiana has 8 out of 10 people still Black here. It's a lot of opportunity here in Gary. So the fact that we took 51 weeks and gave a different convention here in Gary, from everything from last month, the religious convention here, the trucking convention here, the police convention here, the lawyers convention, that was July. This month, the political convention here, the martial arts convention here, the military convention here, and the marketing convention here in August. Then next month, the firefighters convention here, the poetry convention here, the barbers and beauticians convention here, the artists convention here, September. Every month, 4 different conventions. This, as we get you guys to buy into this and donate your $12 and then start buying the apparel for this and start really coming to Gary to fellowship with other people in those professions, making sure the retirees, adults, and youth are merged in together. Think about what this does in our projects in Liberty Square in Miami, when they get to come up to Chicago/Gary for their convention. Our people in Gate City and Birmingham get to come up. And if they can come more than once a year, that's fine. But even once a year is huge to get all 20 other cities coming up here to Gary, Chicago with a purpose, their convention. So I'm excited about that. And I just wanted to put that out there in closing. The next LMNO last name summit is September 25th. That's a Saturday. Last name's LMN and O. It will be available on Zoom as well. You guys will be able to watch this on YouTube. It's in our library. It will become available on our website as well, www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com, www.nationalblockclubuniversity.com. Every second, you guys, that we don't get $12 in, $1 in, it limits what impact we can have.